Let me share the screen. So before we go further, okay, just say this. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, fine.
Everything fine?
Okay. You're breaking off a little bit here and there.
Breaking off. Let's see what am I doing wrong? Hold on a second. Now, can you hear? I'll just focus properly and direct myself. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So before we go further, let me tell you what my thought process is right now. The problem we have here is, you just suppose you don't look at any book, right? Don't look at a book. Just all of you, including myself, have gone through the first Khaṇḍa or the first section of Kena Upaniṣad. Do you agree?
Yes.
So everyone agrees that we did study the first section of Kena Upaniṣad. Okay, and we studied the Śaṅkara Bhāṣya of Kena Upaniṣad. So we understand the way Śaṅkaracharya talks about Kena Upaniṣad. Then I asked myself, okay, why don't you, in simple English, without going into complex Sanskrit or meanings and other things like that, why don't you tell me what is Śaṅkara Bhāṣya of section 1 quickly? So I closed my book and started thinking, what is the essence of Śaṅkaracharya's view on section 1? What do you think happened? What has happened to you? If you close your eyes and say, no, this is what is section 1 according to Śaṅkaracharya, do you have that concept clearly? How many of you have this concept clearly that, yes, I understand Śaṅkara Bhāṣya for section 1?
I think I have. I would say it in 2 sentences. Brahma is behind all activities, and it is not easy to understand or grasp.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anybody else?
I would rephrase what Alango Swami just said. Brahman is the subject of all experience or knowledge, you can say, or sense knowledge, or the senses work because of Brahman, and Brahman is the subject of all knowledge. If there was something, if Brahman is known, then it would become an object of knowledge, which is not true according to Śaṅkaracharya.
Okay. All right. Good. Anybody else?
So same thing in a different way. Once Brahman is the subject, there is no other object. So once you know Brahman.
That's a powerful
Talks
statement.
about the disillusionment of our consciousness, the whole concept that we are not able to understand.
I didn't hear you.
A disillusionment of our consciousness.
Okay.
So, how to explain that? Brahman is everything, and other things are not all gods can be said to be agents. Okay.
Okay.
The Brahman is supreme.
Okay. Fine. Anybody else? Brahman is self-conclusive idea. Brahman is self. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So you know one thing, pretty much all of you have touched upon some important points. So what I felt was, I asked a second question to myself. Does this mean I completely understand Śaṅkara Bhāṣya of section 1? Is there something left out? Is there something unclear? This is the second set of questions I had. What do you think? Did any of us leave anything out at this point? Do we know logically how Shankaracharya concludes and comes to this conclusion? Do we know some important points he makes, which is not covered so far by our conversation here? Is there something missing?
Swami, it is unclear. It is unclear that although all the senses work because of Brahman, is Brahman that whom does the doership fall on? The doership of actions. Although we have read that the eyes exist for the sake of Brahman, they all work for the sake of Brahman, but is Brahman the agent of doing? Is unclear in at least the first section.
Okay. That's one aspect. Anybody else?
If he's a doer, then he becomes object. Right?
I don't get it. I don't understand what you're saying. See, if he is the doer, does he become the object? Does the potter who creates a pot becomes the object?
Oh no. Okay.
So the thinker of the thoughts, does he become the objects his mind is seeking? No. So the thing is, see, I meant as to some other concepts Shankaracharya makes in his first section. There are some concepts we did go through it, but what happens is, if you read the Upanishad, the original Sanskrit Upanishad, there are only 9 verses in the first section. And if I read those sentences in the Kena Upaniṣad, do I get everything Shankaracharya talks about in the first section? That is my question I asked. That means what I'm still doing is I'm not opening the Śaṅkara Bhāṣya book at all. I'm closing that book and says, I will just go to the original. I'm just going to share with you, just for your reference, the text, right? Where is the text? Hold on a second. It's not here. It's not
One
here.
thing is,
Just a second.
one thing is we are not going through any karikas.
What do you mean by karikas?
The Gaudapada karikas. But
You
then
don't
that would
need.
be a huge subject.
No, you don't need. For Kena Upaniṣad, you mean?
No, for overall, for all the Upanishads.
Not necessary. Not necessary at all. See, so far we have studied Kena Upaniṣad. Nowhere the karikas are even mentioned. In fact, Shankaracharya, there may be some later authors regarding the later authors who talk about Kena Upaniṣad or Śaṅkara Bhāṣya, right? There may be if I'm not mistaken, there is Anandagiri, somebody Vyakhya, some Vyakhya is there on Śaṅkara Bhāṣya, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't need to go anywhere. All we need to know is, do we understand the great Acharya, Shankaracharya's views on Kena Upaniṣad? For example, let me just read this just for, see, this is something, it's an exercise, right? It's an exercise we have to go through. See, I'm purposefully making sure that people understand concepts, okay? I am like a conceptual guy. I don't want to remember everything. But if somebody says Kena Upaniṣad, does the concept of Shankaracharya's view come in my mind? That's what I'm looking for. So if you look at Kena Upaniṣad, I'm going to not state the the Mangala Shloka, Shanti Shloka here. Here, the starting is this. Om Kena Padati Preshitam Manaha, Kena Prāṇa Pratamah Praiti Yuktaha, Kena Ishitam Vachamimam Vadanti, Chakshushrotram Kavudevo Yunakti. What is the meaning of Śaṅkaracharya's meaning here? That's all, right? And there's a question. Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Mano Yadvachoha Vacham Sau Pranasya Pranaha Chakshushash Chakshuho Atimuchya Tiraha Pretya Small Lokadamrta Bhavanti. So in the first this one, well, we can make some sense. Is it okay? How does the mind perceive the objects? How does the breath operate? Praitiyukta here, Prāṇa Praitiyukta means is Prāṇa the breath here? That's the question, right? Have you thought about it? See, okay, I'll ask you a question here. The word Prāṇa is used by Śaṅkaracharya in with two meanings. One meaning is Prāṇa is nose, the sense of the olfactory, the sense of smell. In one place he uses Prāṇa as breath, like the breathing. Do we understand which Prāṇa Śaṅkaracharya is using here? Just by looking at the original verses.
No, it is difficult here.
Difficult. Here, Kena
Also-
Prāṇa. What is Pratamaha here? What does Pratama? Pratama means one, right? The number one. What does Pratama mean here? That means the breath, number one. Praiti Yuktaha, it goes and operates or something like that.
Yeah, but
Pratamaha,
then like the
Pratamaha
prana has to mean here it is the prana shakti, right? Like it's not the breath itself. There is
Okay,
another usage
fine.
for prana also, right?
You can take it as Prana Shakti, but why Pratamaha?
Because that's one layer below, right? Like the breathing, what is behind breathing would be prana shakti. That will be the primary thing. That's one layer.
Slightly different. Okay. So why am I? See, I'm giving you this introduction only to reinforce in all of you that if somebody has to understand Śaṅkara Bhāṣya, they have to, in their minds, clearly focus.
Swami, one small
Okay. What is this, Venkatakrishnan? What did you say?
actually, does it mean the 5 pranas here? Actually, the Mukhya prana you are saying actually, does it mean the 5 pranas put together, or
See, prana could contain all the 5, or the main prana, Mukhya prana. It could contain any of them. But the Mukhya prana is fine here. The main prana is fine. Breath is fine. See, the main prana is sufficient actually. See, that is the problem here, right? That is, when you look at the original Upanishad, do you really get the concept of the Bhāṣyakara? Is my question, right? That it is hard. Exactly what does Śaṅkaracharya say here? Why? See, I'm just making an observation here because I wanted to think about it and say, look, if I sleep and wake up, since last few weeks we focused on the 9 verses of the first Khaṇḍa, I should be able to understand Śaṅkara Bhāṣya very clearly. That was my idea. And one thing, I have also a difficulty in, compared to others, I forget things very fast. And it blanks out. My mind blanks out completely and I don't understand what that is. I have to really rethink and remember what it is. Then only I have things ready in my mind. So that's, constantly it evaporates out of my mind. That's something personal. I hope none of you have this problem. Okay. See here.
It is the same here.
Let me tell you one thing. Another thing I was thinking is, Okay, Shrotasya Shrotra Manaso Mano. Oh, he is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, breath of the breath. Fine. Chakshusha Chakshu, eye of the eye. Then what is this? Atimuchya Dhiraha, Pritya Asmad Amrita, Pritya Asmad Lokad Amrita Bhavanti. What does Atimuchya means here? Atimuchya means something giving up, right? Giving up what? Why will they attain immortality? Pretya Asmad Lokad, leaving this world, they become immortal. Amrita Bhavanti, they become immortal. What is this Atimuchya means? What does giving up means here? Right? Not clear. By the original verse of the Upanishad, the meanings are unclear, but these acharyas take a deep, something different. They build their thoughts in a very powerful way, with a lot of background. Don't you think?
Yes, it is true.
So the thing is, here, maybe the next verse we can understand. Natatre chakshur gachati. The eyes do not reach it. The speech do not understand it, nor does the mind. Na vidmo na vijanimo. We don't know. We don't know the details. Yatha etad anushishyat. How we can teach? How anyone can teach? So this reasonably somewhat acceptable, right? Anya devatad viditat athod aviditat adhi iti shushruma purvesham enastad vyata chakshire. After this point, this one is okay. Anya devatad viditat, it is other than the known and it is beyond the unknown. What does, according to Śaṅkaracharya, what does beyond the unknown means? What is, it is other than the known. It's other than the objective world. Known means whether you know it or somebody knows it, something is known. The universe is known. And so Brahman is different from the universe. But it is beyond the unknown. What does it really mean? What is the beyond the unknown mean? How does Śaṅkaracharya understand? So original is clear here. Aviditat adi. It is beyond the unknown. Adi means beyond. Aviditat means not known. So it is beyond the unknown. That is clear here. But what does Śaṅkaracharya really understand by this?
So may I ask a question here?
Tell me.
Not sure about how Śaṅkaracharya takes this, but in the Sankhya Karikas, they talk of the creation as two, right? The Vyakta, the manifest and the unmanifest, right? Avyakta as well. So can this unknown actually indicate the Avyakta? And to say
what is Avyakta in Sankhya Karika?
The unmanifest universe in the potential form, right?
Oh, okay. Unmanifest universe is the potential form. That's possible. Yeah, that's possible.
Because they separate out Vyakta, Avyakta, and Purusha in that. And Gaudapada has written a commentary on that Karikas, right? So I was just wondering if that could make any sense here. It was just a question. So the beyond both of that is where Atman could lie, if at all Śaṅkaracharya's meaning is in that sense.
See, the thing is, the Avyakta can be taken as the unmanifest. Okay, but Śaṅkaracharya has a different terminology for it. Okay, he doesn't call it as unmanifest. He says Karana or cause. I will come to that. I'll come to that. I wanted to first fill you with questions. Okay, I want you to think. This is about what we have understood already, right? And I myself tested myself today and felt very disappointed that I could not pinpoint exactly what Śaṅkara Bhāṣya is here without looking at Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. That was the whole purpose today. And let me see a couple of couple of Brahman is self, one comment here. Another comment, that is Ramanuja, Brahman, Prāṇa is Atman Brahman. That is another comment. Prāṇa is Atman Brahman is different. Here in Śaṅkara Bhāṣya, I don't think it comes this way. And another person, KK, says, by whom directed does Prāṇa go? That is about its business. Prathama is an appropriate adjective of Prāṇa as the activity of all sensory organs presupposes it. By whom prompted is the speech which men in the world make use of, and what intelligence directs the eye and the ear towards their respective organs. This is actually, translated Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. This is exactly how Śaṅkara, the original translation is. So it's appropriate. It's right. So the thing is, there the Prathama means Prāṇa is the leader of all senses. Because if the Prāṇa goes away, the senses cannot act. So I told, a long time back, I told a story. In another Upanishad, the story comes, right? The senses, that is eyes, ears, mind, and all these, and they fight with Prāṇa and say, who is better than everybody? Who is the most important? And each of the senses say that, oh, I am more important. But what happens is, okay, you don't know the truth. Prāṇa says, I'm going to leave because you don't seem to understand the truth. And Prāṇa leaves the body. When Prāṇa leaves the body, all other senses have to leave the body because they are subservient to Prāṇa. Then they realize that Prāṇa is the most important. So Prāṇa is the main breath, Mukhya Prāṇa, the breath, all our breaths. If the breath is gone, we die. And the senses cannot work. So that is right, actually. Then is also unknown, Ramanuja, endless unknown. Okay, this is something we need to discuss. What does unknown mean? Endless unknown mean? It's a very important point. Okay, so let's leave here. Let's stop here and now pick up. What are the problems do we see in the first 9 shlokas? So there is some problem with what is beyond the unknown. That's still a problem, right? Then iti shrishuma purvesham yenastat vyacha chakshire. That is simple. Oh, that's what we have heard from the old ancient ones. Okay. Yad vacha anabhyuditam yena vagabhyudyate. Here, the one simple meaning is it is not expressed by speech, but the concept of speech is known because of the Brahman. Okay, that's somewhat understandable. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yedidam upasate. It says that is Brahman which enables speech happen, which makes us know what speech is, but not the one you are meditating on. Yedidam, not the one people meditate on, not the one people worship. Here, now I'll ask you a question. Now, Shankaracharya makes powerful comments here. What comments are they? How different is what comments probably he has done here? Because in this particular verse, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of background Shankaracharya gives. And anybody remember anything here? No? Okay. What?
Which verse is it again? Sorry.
Yad vacha anabhyuditam, that verse number 5. All right. So again starts en manasana manute, ena ahur manomatam. That is, the mind cannot perceive it. The mind cannot think of that. But the mind is thought of by us. We know what our minds are because of the Brahman. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi enedam edidam upasate. That is Brahman which enables us to understand mind, but not the one people meditate on. Okay, this repeats. Yachakshusha na pashyati, yena chakshumshi pashyati. What the eyes cannot see, but the eyes seem to see, and we know about our eyes because of the Brahman. And not the one people worship. That is Brahman, but not the one people worship. Okay? Yet shrotrena na shrunoti. Ears cannot hear it. It is not heard by the ears. Yena shrotramidam shrutam. But we know what our ears are, how our ears operate because of the Brahman. Tvam vidhi nedam yedidam upasate. Tadeva brahmat. That is Brahman and not the ones people worship. Yat pranena praniti. Yat pranena na praniti. Yena pranaha praniyate. Here, interestingly, the word prana, Śaṅkara takes it as ghrana. Ghrana means nose, olfactory organ, the sense of smell. So you cannot smell Brahman, but our smelling, the whole process of what smelling occurs in human beings or in any being is actually done by Brahman. Because of Brahman, we can smell. That is Brahman, which makes our olfactory senses operate. Sense operate. Not the one which people worship. And this is the end of the Prathama Khaṇḍa. Now you get it? But you still don't know some changes Śaṅkaracharya puts it on this. We still don't know his called the overtures or the corollaries he gets out of. He picks up from other Upanishads and other Vedantic information and he combines them here and makes something else, slightly different. Do you agree? That we need to know more about Śaṅkara Bhāṣya.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is where the problem comes. If we don't know the first Śaṅkara Bhāṣya and the first Khaṇḍa very clearly, conceptually, we will not be able to understand Khaṇḍa 2 properly. That's a big problem. Okay, now let me go and then now in the Khaṇḍa 2, what are the issues? I will give the answers to it at the end, but I want you to realize what is the problem of how to understand a commentary by just looking at the original Upanishads. It's a little hard. See, after the first Khaṇḍa, what happens? Iti manyase suvedeti. I use the second type. Dabhramevapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam. Yadasya tvam yadasya deveshu athanu mimamsya mevate manye viditam. Look at this. This is a little bit complex words. This is the first words of the second Khaṇḍa, second section. Iti manyase suvedeti. If you think that you know Brahman well, you know Brahman very little. Dabhramevapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam. The form of Brahman, you know, is very little. Yadasya, whether you take it, yadasya tvam, whether you take it with reference to you, yadasya deveshu, this, whether you take it with reference to the devatas or the deities, athano mimamsameva. So you have to think about it. You have to investigate further. You have to contemplate. Then the student thinks about it and he comes out and says, Manya Viditam, now I understand. See, Viditam, Manya Viditam, he doesn't say, Śaṅkaracharya takes it as, he doesn't say, I know. If he says, I know Brahman, then Brahman becomes object. He says, okay, Manya Viditam, now I understand. Okay, what do you understand? Then comes the next verse. Naham manye suvedeti, nona vedeti vedacha, yonas tadveda tadveda, nona vedeti vedacha. Interesting. Naham manye suvedeti. I think I don't know this very well. No, navedeti vedacha. Not that I do not know. I also know. Yonas tadveda tadveda. Those among us who know this, what do they know? They know that I don't know Brahman very well, and not that I don't know, but I know also. The one who knows this sentence, what is the effect of this sentence or the meaning of the sentence, who believes in the meaning of this sentence, knows it. Yonas tadveda tadveda. No na vedeti vedacha. That means not that I completely don't know, but know also. Here comes Shankaracharya's deep discussion. If if you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. What is something in between? If it is something in between, there is a problem. That means it is erroneous thought, erroneous disillusionment, delusion, ignorance. All these things are knowing, wrongly knowing, viparyaya, can happen this way. So what is the whole point here? That's what Shankaracharya makes a point here, right? The third verse is yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya navedasaha avijñātam vijñānatam vijñātam avijñānatam. This yasya matam tasya matam. One who does not know knows. One who knows does not know. That is, one who thinks he knows does not know. One who thinks he does not know knows. Avijñātam vijñānatam. It is not known by the people who think they know. It is vijñātam avijñānatam. It is known by those who do not know. What does this really mean? See, if you look at the original verse of Kena Upaniṣad, and if you only look at the meaning of the verse there, you cannot derive Śaṅkara Bhāṣya perfectly. So Śaṅkara Bhāṣya gives an orientation to this whole Upanishad. Why am I saying so much now? Is there is a very critical verse here. The next verse is Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amrtatvam hi vindate Atmana vindate viryam Vidyaya vindate amrutam. This verse, fourth verse, is very difficult. 3 or 4 different authors think very differently about this. Shankaracharya has a view, and Madhvacharya and Ramanuja.org, Ramanuja.org, all of them have different view. If you look at it, there are only 5 verses in the second Khaṇḍa, right? The second Khaṇḍa starts here, and it's only 1 page, right from the beginning to the end. Let me position it right. Can you see me? Can you see the screen? I have contained the entire 5 verses of the second section right here. Then, so this Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amrtatvam Vindate is very difficult to understand. That we need to understand. Even the Sanskrit is difficult. What is Pratibodha? What is the opinion known by Pratibodha? And that person gets immortality. Matam Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amrtatvam hi Vindate. He gets immortality by something. Atmana Vindate Viryam. He will get Virya through Atma. Vidyaya Vindate Amritam. Through Vidya, he gets immortality. What does this mean? This is very difficult verse. Even to whether you analyze the Sanskrit or what is it talking about? It is tough. The next verse is sort of interesting. Very interesting verse. Ihacheda Vedi Atha Satyam Asti. If you know it right here, then there is value. Nachediha Avedi Mahati Vinashtihi. If you don't know this prior to giving up this body, prior to dying, if you don't know this Brahman, Mahati Vinashtihi, you have a severe loss. It is not just like losing $10 million, not $100 million. Mahati Vinashtihi, this is destructively difficult loss. It is huge loss if you don't know Brahman before you leave this body. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhiraha pretyasma lokadamrta bhavanti. Again, vichitya, what does it mean? Who are the dhiras? And bhuteshu means in every being. What does it mean? Pretyasma lokadamrta bhavanti. Giving up this world, leaving this world, they become immortal. Who are they? Don't you think that the whole Upanishad seems to be enigmatic, very difficult? Do you agree?
Yes, it is.
So now what we do is, I want to just go back and simply give you the meaning of this 9 verses in simple English. That is why I wrote down this. This time I didn't even go by the book. I wanted to understand it myself. And I'll give you the Shankaracharya's just an overview of the first 9 verses. You can go to the prior lectures and figure out what the detailed meanings are. But in this lecture, as a summary, I'm going to give you what does Shankaracharya say. I obviously didn't write it up without referring to Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. So when I got into trouble, I looked back at Śaṅkara Bhāṣya and figured out what exactly Shankaracharya is saying. So with the help of Śaṅkara Bhāṣya, now I constructed a simple meaning of the first 9 verses. Okay, these are not the first 9 verses. The second, this is the second Khaṇḍa. Here, I didn't do much work on this because we should again look at these 2 or go into details here and later on summarize at the end of 5. After reading these 5 verses, we should summarize and make sure we get a concept of Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. Now I'm going to give you only this concept of Khaṇḍa 1, section 1 of Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. Now let me stop share this and share my notes which I created. Okay. I haven't even can you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to now put it on. I'm going to use the enlarged view. I think you can see the whole view, right? That is lecture 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me. So Kena, if somebody asks, if a ordinary young kid from college asks, tell me about Kena Upaniṣad, just tell me in a simple way. And what does Shankaracharya understand out of the Kena Upaniṣad? First, we should say there are 4 questions in the very beginning, first words of the Kena Upaniṣad. There are 4 questions. And what are they? One second, just a second. They are, by whose will does the mind reach the objects and perceives them? By whose will does the breath, the leader of the senses, operates? By whose will do people speak the way they do? By whose will do the eyes and ears perceive their objects? Here, they're all directed to the way the original Preshitam Patati. That means by whose will the mind falls on mind is directed towards the objects. I just changed that to make it as just directing towards the object is not sufficient. You have to perceive the object, right? So I expanded the meaning to make sense out of it. That's all. And I'm sure the other acharyas don't mind. So this is how Shankaracharya understands. There are 4 questions. These are very fundamental questions. See, let me ask you a question. Look at this question. It is very powerful in the sense that they're not asking about how does a car work, how does the planes work, how does rocket operate. They're not asking for any physical object. They're asking something about something really they know they have it. There's a mind, there is breath, we are speaking, and speech is very complex. The computer graphics, the perception of objects and perceiving ears and all, they're all complex. How does this work? So they go directly into a deeper set of questions, almost beyond the science. Science may focus more on objects, but they're asking about the perceiver in addition to the objects. Okay. Now, these are the 4 questions. Now, how does the Bhāṣya go? The answers are coming in the next few verses. It is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. That is verily the breath of the breath, eye of the eye. Oh, this seems to be complex. It is just behind all these senses. That's what I can get, right? It is behind all these senses. Then giving up the idea that any of these are Atman, that is, senses such as eyes and so on, are not Atma. Atimuchya means, Śaṅkara takes it as Jnatva, knowing. Atimuchya is also giving up. What does giving up mean? Śaṅkara immediately jumps on Ishana Tyāga. See, what is the Ishana means? The desires. Why desires? See, say, we think I am the perceiver, I am the hearer, I am the knower, I am the smeller. The sense, we attach ourselves as sense. That is, we are saying senses is I am the senses. That's wrong. That attachment is wrong. That is deha abhimana. You think that you are the body. You're not the body. You're not the mind. So you have to give up the attachment association with the body, mind, intellect. If you have body, mind, intellect, somebody related to me as Putra, Putreshana, Vitteshana, Dareshana, Lokeshana. These are, Putreshana is enough. Putreshana means want children, the desire for children. Vitteshana, the desire for money. Lokeshana is desire for fame. All the desires should be given up because the desires are related to our body, mind, body, mind's intellect. I am not that. Brahman is different. So only by giving up attachment, one can attain immortality after leaving this body. And so that is the next verse. Then says, they go deeper to answer these 4 questions, right? The 4 questions were given up, and these are all the answers. Speech does not perceive it. Mind does not perceive it. We do not know how anyone can explain this Brahman, because Brahman cannot be perceived by speech. Brahman cannot, mind cannot also perceive Brahman. If speech cannot perceive, mind cannot perceive, how can anybody explain Brahman? We cannot. So we don't know how to explain this either. So this is the next verse. Then it says, it is that Brahman is verily other than known and beyond the unknown. So we have heard from the ancient ones who have taught us. Here, what is known according to Śaṅkara is all the world of objects. Anybody can, somebody in the North Pole may know something. Even whatever that person knows comes under the known. If you take all the knowers and all the beings together, whatever they know, that is this universe. Beyond the unknown. What is unknown? Here Śaṅkara says, when you look at this external world, you want to see what caused it. So even a scientist goes and says, okay, where did this universe come from? The universe seems to be expanding continuously. That's what we understand using our redshift and all the measurements we do on light. But what is the cause of this universe? So automatically human beings go towards, oh, this whole world is operating. We know the sun rises in the east every day and things like that. And we know how the flowers bloom, trees grow, and they give fruits. Food is grown. We know so many things. That's all known. But why is it happening? What is the cause? The cause is, the science may say it is Big Bang, the original, it was a small thing and everything came from there. So we look for the unknown, which is the cause. Here Śaṅkara takes it as the unknown is avidya, or the ignorance, or the maya, which causes this universe. So he takes it as, so we're trying to understand this cause. It is also, it could be taken as a mula prakriti. Mula prakriti is from all the prakriti which came, the unmanifest prakriti maybe. So he gives similar some different ideas, and also here he puts it as some more concepts he brings in. We naturally look for the cause, karana, and this is karya. Karya is the universe, which is the effect. The karana is, we're trying to find out what the karana is. But Brahman is other than the karana. So obviously this karana or the cause has to be either maya or avidya or something like that. Right? Then he brings in a concept called heya upadeya. I talked about it earlier. Why does he bring the word of heya? Means give up. Upadeya means obtain, get it. Brahman is neither the heya or the that which should be given up, and Brahman is other than that should be acquired. So here initially it comes out as known and beyond the unknown. Here Śaṅkara says whatever is known is heya, or that to be given up. Why? We see this universe is always filled with sorrow and delusion. Shoka moha. Shoka means sorrow. How much ever we have, we are not happy. We always think that, oh, I have lots of money, but my health is not doing very well. I'm not doing very well. Something like that. We always come up and there is some problem. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajaswamam is what Krishna says. Anityam asukham lokam. That means this world is anitya, transient. So one day it is there, one day something breaks. It's gone. Asukha, it always gives you some sorrow eventually. So it is heya. So you want to give up the known and try to find. So you are trying to look for what is to be acquired. Something you don't know, you try to acquire, right? I don't know something, it bothers me that I don't know that. Let me try to know what it is. So something is causing all these things. If I know the cause, it's good. Let me know the cause. So we constantly look for the unknown and look for something which we don't have something, we want to get something, right? That is upadeya. But Brahman cannot be got like that because he's different from what can be got. So here Śaṅkara extends it to the cause, the avidya. Brahman is other than that avidya or the cause. That's what he derives from here, right? Then upadeya is the cause, that which you look for. We are trying to look for the cause. We try to find the cause, since what is known seems to cause us only sorrow and delusion, right? Whatever is known here in this world, it is causing constantly sorrow and delusion. Aging is happening, things are not working the way you want. So there's always cause for worry and despair, delusion, sorrow and delusion. So you look for something which is causing all these things. Maybe that is clear and pure and blissful. Okay. So then next comes the question is, well, most people cannot digest and agree with the fact that they are Brahman. If the Upanishad directly says, oh, you are Brahman, Tattvamasi, you are Brahman, Aham Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, this Atman is Brahman. The Upanishad can say, but I don't think people will believe. So the thing is, people always think that Brahman is something else other than me. Obviously, I'm not happy with myself. Even the Shvetashveta Upanishad says, Atmāpyanishaha sukha dukkha hetoho. Obviously, I am not the boss. If I was the boss, I wouldn't have created this world which can cause sorrow to me. I would have created a blissful world. Hence, I am not the boss. I am stuck in this world. I am not the boss of this world. If I were the boss of the world, I would have created a wonderful, beautiful, always bliss-giving kind of universe. So I know I am not the boss. Atmapi anishaha. He is not the isha. Sukha dukkha hetoho. Because I have this mixed pleasure and pain. So people cannot believe that they are boss. People cannot believe that they are Brahman. So it's obviously most people, 99.9% of the people always believe that they are, Brahman is different from them. Brahman is somebody to be achieved. Brahman is outside, somebody to be meditated upon. We have to go to a temple, fall at his feet and say, oh Krishna, help me. Oh, somebody help me. Oh, different deities, you help me. People always do that because always people know that they need help from somebody else. So Brahman has to be the object of meditation, and Brahman should be separate from the meditator. He is not something he is somewhere high up there. I cannot reach him, so I am low, and I need to reach the high person, that is Brahman, who is the object of meditation. So most people believe Brahman has to be the object of meditation, separate from the meditator, the self. But Śaṅkaracharya says, no. That is what this Upanishad is saying. Brahman is not the one people worship. Brahman is not the one people meditate upon. Brahman is nirvishesha. It is attributeless. Shinmatra Swarupa. It is only consciousness. It is only a knower subject, not an object. Even he quotes from the Brihadaranyaka, says there is no knower other than Brahman. Nanyate tosti vijñātra. There is no knower other than that Brahman. Brahman is not the object. Hence, you are Brahman. Hence, self is Brahman. You are looking for outside. Don't look anywhere. Don't go to Vishnu, Shiva, and all these people. They don't go there. Brahman is right here. You are Brahman. What is not accessible to speech? By which speech is known to us? Brahman is that, not the one people worship. That which is not thought by the mind, but people say mind is known to us. Because of that, he is verily Brahman, not the one people worship. That which is not seen by eyes, but the eyes are perceived because of that Brahman. That is Brahman, not the one people meditate on. That which is not heard by the ear, but the ears are known to us because of that. He is verily Brahman, not what people worship. That which is not known to our organ of smell, but the organ of smell is known to us because of that Brahman. That is Brahman, not the ones people worship. So this is the summary of Kena Upaniṣad part 1. I will simply quickly tell you what is addressed in part 2, section 2. If you think you know Brahman well, you know very little of Brahman. Whether what you know is with reference to individual self or with reference to the Devas, you know very little of the form of Brahman. You have to think about Brahman more. Please think about this sentence again, this first part. See, how do we know? Other than we know the objects around us, that's one thing. What else do we know? In our ordinary life, take for example any person, just an ordinary person. Okay, the persons know, these people know objects around them, right? What else do they know? Anybody? I'll stop share here.
Yeah, they will know somebody else who knows something else out. They will know somebody who will know something else other than what they know. Like,
okay,
I know something. the extension basically. Yeah.
Okay, so somebody else knows something. They're all objective, right? Objective.
Yeah.
But there is something. They have a feeling that I know, right? Other than the knowing the object, they also know that I know.
Yeah.
They know something is here inside which knows. So that is the self.
Yeah.
That is the I.
Yeah, that is correct.
They have a feeling. They have a feeling of I, but they don't know it completely. But they have a feeling of I, right?
True.
Then what it is? That is what Brahman. They know little of Brahman with reference to this I. This I is related to the body, mind, intellect. But with reference to the I, they know that there is some consciousness. There's something. And so they know Brahman with reference to the I, because they don't know exactly what Brahman is. But beyond the objects they perceive, they also know that there is some knower here. And with
there's a third thing actually.
Exactly.
That's the third thing. Yeah.
Knower, they know Brahman. So Brahman qualified by the objects. One. Brahman qualified by the universe. Brahman, I won't say qualified. Brahman related to. Upādhi. Śaṅkara uses the word Upādhi. Upādhi means adjunct. A simple way to understand Upādhi is, if some kid asks, where is the moon in the night? Then the old man next to the kid says, okay, look at the branch of the tree there. Not that branch, this branch, this branch. Okay, that branch. Moon is behind that branch. Suppose he says, that branch is the Upādhi. So the Upādhi is not Brahman. Upādhi is not moon. Similarly, the self, whatever you say, call it a self, is not Brahman. But we know that Brahman is associated with the self, which is making all these things visible to us. It makes us know our mind. It makes us know that we are perceiving objects through different senses, and we are experiencing pleasure and pain, mostly pain. So
that makes it clear. Yeah.
Okay. Now there's something else which we know also. You know one thing. If somebody tries to design an I, very difficult. Robots, they design a robot with a lot of intelligence. They can create a robot which can even go to a war battlefield and start like the Terminator kind of movie, right? You see, they can create a robot to do a lot of things. To see, that is, so the I, the concept of I itself is very complicated. But can they do a robot like the eye of a mosquito? Very hard, right? Today, if science really tries hard, I don't think they can create a synthetic or man-created, human-created artificial mosquito. Same size, same weight, the power of moving around, and the power of multiplying. Like one pair of mosquitoes or something can probably can probably create 300 mosquitoes at one point, quickly multiply. Can human beings artificially create mosquitoes? No, they cannot. Similarly, the eye of really small creatures, how do people can create? It's very difficult. So there are devatas, we can do it. So then they say there are deities who are behind the eye, behind the ears, behind our skin, to sense. So Brahman is associated with all these devatas. So one thing they can understand is devatas, right? Because they know that there's some superpower behind all these things. It's not so easy for us to figure out how to do it. Science cannot replicate this nature, right? So they know that Brahman is associated with some deities which are more complicated than human beings. And then Brahman is associated with self. So they know that these are Upādhis. Okay, here I stopped because a lot of people are leaving because it's already more than an hour. We can come back here, the section 2 again. All I wanted to impress upon you is that where is it? Okay. No. Here it is. In the section, here's the section. Here it is. Section PowerPoint. All I wanted to tell you was whether you know Brahman with reference to the individual self or with reference to the Devas. These are the 2 Upādhis. You know very little about Brahman because Brahman associated with these 2 Upādhis is very little. Brahman is something very different. So you know very little about Brahman if you know something with reference to yourself and with reference to the deities. Then the student thinks about it for a while and say, now I understand. From here, I will continue Śaṅkara Bhāṣya next time. I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Was this class useful or was it boring that I repeated what was told earlier for so long? For 10 sessions we talked about, I repeated it. So is this useful or not?
Yes.
Yes, it gets embedded in the mind the more we hear.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very useful, like you were saying, I also forget, because when there is no class, I don't study this. So, I do my routine work. So when I come back, it's a fresh starting. What did he talk about? The way in which you explain.
Yes. So anyway, definitely it was useful for me because when I look back, I said, I thought I understand, but I don't understand. Now things are getting clearer. We are following Śaṅkara Bhāṣya. So I think we are going in the right direction to understand Śaṅkara Bhāṣya.
These concepts are not, those look easy, but those are not so easy. Those are a bit difficult. We need to continuously, regularly go back and understand them. Revise again and again.
Right. So wonderful. Thank you very much. Namaste to everyone. We will continue next week, hopefully during the regular hours. This is the changed hour this time. Namaste to everyone. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Purnamastu. Thank you.